Okay, here we go. Alright, good evening, friends. Welcome to AfterCut, a series about post-processing and processing post, where we do photo editing, video editing, and just discuss the creative process. We make mistakes, we try new things, and we get into the kind of the details of what it's like to put a project together after the cameras have stopped rolling. So tonight we're doing a photo. We're doing a one shot, so it should just be one photo depending on time. I might try to tackle a second one. But yeah, still just one. Starting with one photo for tonight. This is a photo from a hike I just did up in New Jersey. And yeah, as always the reason that I do this is twofold. One, I want people to I want to give that peek behind the curtain of photo editing, because so often if you're seeing people's photos on Instagram or Vero or whatever else, and you're seeing the polished final edited version, and there's a lot more that goes into it than just taking a photo. And it's very easy to look at someone's finished photos and go, oh, well, this is they're just that talented, they took that to look like that out in the field. And it's not true. And most of the time editing classes are, and editing insight is behind a paywall, and I hate that. So Grenadine lemonade. But so that's the one reason I do it. The other reason I do this is because I want to foster and encourage discussion about photography and editing and the whole post processing environment, giving sharing my thoughts, hearing yours, answering questions. As much as this is my platform, I want to share it. So please feel free to ask questions. And if you are an artist, if you spend any part of your day creating, by all means, feel free to drop your link to your work in the chat, and we can all check out the cool stuff you do. So, that being said, we're doing a one shot tonight. We're just working on this photo, which is a shot from the Rahway River. Fun fact about this is this hike has a series of cascades and waterfalls on it. However, and those are kind of like, you're going, Hemlock Falls is kind of the pinnacle of this hike. It's kind of where it's the out and back, or it's the out part of the out and back. But as you're going there, you're supposed to pass over a few different other little cascades. And when I went, they were totally dry, which I missed a couple. I missed them because I was like, wait, did I pass that already? It's like, yeah, because it was a dry creek bed. It wasn't an actual little water small. The Rahway River here, the main trail kind of does cut through, does cut across the river, and there is a high water kind of detour around that takes you down across a bridge about 100 yards behind me. But yeah, the water level here was incredibly low. Like, I'm standing on rocks that were barely, this right here at the bottom here is the beginning of any kind of substantial water on this river. And if I zoom in here, you can still see that there's a good amount of rocks over here that are just dead dry, just between the banks. So it hadn't rained in a while. That's also part of it, but it's also another small sign of climate change affecting kind of how we work and then the world around us. So let's take a look at this photo. I'm actually pretty happy with the composition right now. I like the this drives my eye to the center. This feels like it's all kind of narrowing in, which I think is good. I don't want to over don't need to do more than that, though. I like that I can pull that the sky down a bit. Let me pull the whites down instead of the highlights. Pull the whites down and the highlights a little bit, so I still get. I'll pull the shadows up again, just to kind of give us that nice detail, and then we'll pull the blacks down a bit to give us that contrast, which I like. I'm a big fan of. A little more clarity, I think, just to sharpen everything. I might dehaze this a bit, even though dehazing with a black and white photo mostly just ends up it's just another, it's effectively a stronger contrast slider, because like yeah, there's all the way contrast up, here's all the way dehaze up. They're very similar in the case of a black and white photo. If I put it on color, then like dehaze makes a bigger difference because it also kind of saturates. But we're going black and white, doesn't matter. Also, you'll catch, if I go back to color for a second, if I zoom in here, I don't know if you can see how well you can see. I think it shows up. You can see there's little bits of pink kind of right around the edges of all these leaves, and that is the result of the camera's sensor being aimed at something very bright. That it's like, this is like, if I, let's see, it's actually not coming in as overexposed. It's coming as underexposed, which is fine by me because I want areas to be totally dark. But yeah, in color, that's a little bit of a chromatic aberration happening there, where you just get a little bit of a colored sort of haze around this photo, around this part of the photo that's trying to go from bright white to like a darker green. So there we go. That looks pretty good. Let's come down here. I think I might want to brighten the whole thing up a little bit. I'm going to take the exposure slider and just click it up a notch. Let's come down. Also, if you're a longtime viewer of the stream and you notice I'm now looking in a different direction, it's that the monitor that I use over here that used to have my streaming software, and I used to have Lightroom right in front of me. This monitor over here is actually better in terms of color calibration, so that's why I'm staying on that, and I'm using that now. Could do some lens profile corrections. I shot this on the 10 to 22 millimeter lens. I shot this at 10 millimeters. This is as wide as this gets. I do kind of like pulling that out, but I also still kind of like, I like wide lens distortion. I really do. I think it makes a pretty nice difference in terms of it. Like it makes everything feel like it's sort of coming at you. It draws your eye to the center, which I really like. So I don't know. This time I actually like it without that. So we'll correct that. Let's see. Yep, and this is interesting. Okay, so usually there's a color mixer that I can work with here. If I switch to Adobe monochrome, like, we'll notice that change. Let's undo and redo. So Adobe monochrome is a little bit lighter around the edges. If I go back up here, so camera monochrome, yeah, Adobe monochrome it isn't quite as dark. Do that again. The camera monochrome darkens the shadows a little more. Adobe monochrome not so much, but it gives me access to the color mixer, so I'm going to use that. And again, if you can, I don't know if you can really see on here. Let me zoom in. If I kind of move the red slider back and forth. No, is it not showing up? Is it not? Nah. Alright, yeah, it's real subtle. I can sort of just see the leaves up there sort of flickering as I adjust. Now there is some yellow and some orange out here. Not just in the trees, but also in the leaves that are down here in the water. It does make a bit of a difference down here. I kind of like that, so I'm going to keep that. Yellows. Let's see. There we go. Now we're yellow. Yeah, yellows are brighter. And we could go all the way out, but that what that does with this photo for me, I'm looking at the thumbnail up in the corner here because that kind of gives you a better overall sense of what this photo is going to look like when you glance at it. Is like it creates a separation. It has like and I don't dislike that there's kind of a like an overworld and an underworld here where the trees are brighter and then the water is darker. I might actually do a virtual copy and come back to that. But for my first instinct with this, I like this to be darker. I like this to all feel like it's part of the same sort of haunting, beautiful scene. Greens, again, same kind of thing. I could brighten the greens up a lot, but that does tend to separate the top and the bottom. I don't want to do that. However, a little bit I think is good. Aquas. As always, aquas do nothing. For the most part, it's actually a little bit of something going on with the aqua, but not enough to really matter, so aqua's going away. And we will just, one day. Blues. Yeah, we got a little bit of blue in the sky. and a little bit of blue down here in the water that we can brighten up. I don't think it helps us. I'd actually rather it be dark. I think, yeah, brightening that up makes it to me it distracts. Give it a little bit of brightness, I think, but not much. It's distracting a little bit. And then purples, really not doing a whole lot. As far as I can tell. Hang on a second, let me turn this off. There we go. Purples. Yeah, a little bit of brightness down there in the water, so let's turn that up. I do like that. There's a little bit of extra. Yeah, maybe not. Let me put the blues back down. Yeah, I think darkening this down is actually the better way to go. Yep, put the greens back, and then magentas. Yeah, you can see it kind of flickering there, but top to bottom, it's not really making a difference, so we're going to leave that alone as well. All right. This is coming along pretty well. I think I want to pull my blacks down a little more. Actually, no, I take that back. I'm going to pull my highlights down a little more. Yeah, that sky is a bit brighter than I wanted it to be. Let's come down here to our post-crop vignette and just... That's way too much. Just a touch of vignetting. It's amazing how much, like, vignetting a little bit goes a long way. It really does. That looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Let the shadows come down. Well, I want this to have a haunting vibe to it. I want this to be beautiful but kind of uncomfortable. Let's do one other thing, because I'm a big fan of texture in water, and I think that's important. Let's do a linear gradient here. And just spread it out so that it's a gradual change. Move that down so it's kind of like this. So it's just affecting the bottom here. And we're going to crank up the texture. Just so that texture really... Actually, as I think about this, I don't know if I want that. I don't know if that's... I think that's actually worse. I might brighten it up, actually. Yeah, I think brightening it up helps because it helps balance out the sky at the top of the photo. But I don't think... I think turning the texture up is not helping because it's... When I look at this photo, my eye is drawn to the middle. I like that. That's where my eye immediately goes. The lines of the trees bring me there. The lines of the riverbank bring me there. The rocks in the water bring me there. That's where I want to be. It brings me to the center of that image, right where the stuff meets. If I turn the texture up down here, it makes it too much of a thing. It makes it too obvious. By the way, Shelby Lynn, just regarding our conversation from last night, that's what it looks like when I fuck up. That's me making a mistake and correcting it. So, we all do it. The funny thing is, I set all of these black and white photos to the camera's monochrome because I figured that'd look better, because I think it does. But that takes away my ability to color mix, which I think is more important. So I'm going to have to reset all of these. But I like how this one's looking. Let's get out of masking. Take a quick peek at the before and after. Oh, you see it in color there. So yeah, so before and after, yeah, I like this better. I think in the before, you notice the greens and the blues. This tree here is kind of almost totally obscure, is just kind of blown out. And my eye doesn't really travel any one way or the other. Here, now wherever I look, my eye gets drawn to the middle there and gets drawn to that kind of, that meeting of that kind of void of space in the middle and the reflections and stuff. And I like that. There's something, to me, and this might just be me being pretentious as fuck, but I like that we're getting drawn to the difference between being in some ways being an uplifting or like a menacing thing is, are we working toward an actual subject, or are we working toward nothing? And I think here, drawing our eye to this void in the center gives the whole photo a bit of a haunting edge, and I like that. So, I'm going to give this its 3 stars. And then, so this is going to be a one shot, but I'm going to create a virtual copy and do a second edit on this because I want to see what it looks like if I do the overworld, underworld color work. Or not color, but color mix. Which means turning the yellows and turning the greens up. Turn the yellows up a bit. Blues get turned down to a degree, but that's a bit much. Let's see. Turn the oranges up as well. Yeah, that's gonna make a difference. We're gonna come up here. We're gonna turn up the contrast. Actually, let's go to our masks. Let's work on this. So we've already got our linear mask down here. What I'm gonna do this time is I'm going to make it smaller and bring it up so that it's literally on the line. We're gonna put the highlights back low. Bring the shadows down. Actually, keep the highlights up. We're just gonna darken that whole under forest sort of look. Give it a really work toward giving it like the energy of like an undercity. Let's see. Ooh, turning the clarity way up gives like a Sin City comic book sort of look, and I'm kind of a fan of that. Very much a fan of that. I think that's weird and haunting in a cool way. And then, for all of you longtime viewers, take a drink, duplicate, and invert. I turn the highlights up. The shadows up. Turn the clarity way up. It's gonna do that Sin City thing as well, but which also looks really cool. We're gonna do a third version of this photo, guys. Just what happens. If I turn dehaze down a little bit, it gives us a nice. Let's go back to this mask and put the clarity back. Gives a little bit of clarity, but not. There we go. That's actually much better. There we go. That looks pretty cool, actually. I'm actually a pretty big fan of that. I do want to maybe adjust the crop on this one, though. And just sort of pull that in so that we can really focus on this central tree here. Yeah, that's better, I think. No, I think I take it back. I think I like the whole thing. I think I like it being the whole wide shot. I like it gives me the whole riverbank kind of pushing in. So we got that. I'm happy with that. This one I'm gonna give 2 stars because I may come back and adjust it. I'm gonna do one more, another virtual copy, and all I'm changing here is I'm gonna crank the clarity on these masks way the hell up, and give that really lean into that comic book look. Let's come up here to the first mask. Bring up the contrast. There we go. And like now, yeah, we got some overexposed bits, and that's okay. That's part of the fun of working on a photo like this right now. There we go. Crank up the dehaze, really get some darks in there. Yeah, like we got a lot of underexposure in this photo, and that's good. That's like those are blacks we can't brighten up, and I don't want to brighten them up. Look at that. That's a comic book panel. It's an overcomplicated comic book panel, but it's a comic book panel nonetheless. Texture up. Nah, that's too much. Put that back. Let it sort of, I don't want to overdo it. I actually like that a lot. Cool. All right. I'm going to give that 3 stars. That's a completed photo. I'm glad it feels ethereal. That's a cool way to put it. That's a cool way to look at it. I don't know. It's maybe just the stark, like such stark black and white that I immediately went to Sin City, which immediately connects me to comics. But yeah, I'm a fan of this. So here's our first one. More realistic, more of a. Do you want to bring the contrast up on this a little bit? No, I take it back. I want to bring the clarity up on this a little bit. Just make it a little bit sharper. There we go. I like that. So we got that one. We got this one. And we got this one. And it's, 3 very different edits for the same photo in terms of what we see in them and what we want to see from it. So, yeah, just a quick one-shot stream. There's a whole. I've got 66 photos from this hike. Some in color, a lot of them in black and white. A lot of cool stuff with interesting tree roots and and lights and shadows coming through the trees. Couple cool shot like this. We got a cool one with this little bridge here and the sun blasting through this clump of trees. So yeah, got plenty to take a look at as we go forward. But for now, this is the photo for tonight. So yeah, thank you for joining me on this very short little adventure. I appreciate getting to share this with you. Yeah, and it's just keep doing stuff. Whether you're talking about it, whether you're creating stuff or not, keep sharing. Keep creating stuff. Keep finding that drive inside you to make something artistic. And yeah, just see where it takes you, because that's part of the fun. It's part of the reason we do this, is because we don't go into this knowing what it's going to be. We go into it with the expectation that we're going to be wrong, and then we're going to make it better. So, with that being said, be safe, be kind, be well, and we'll see you next time. Have a good night.